everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to bring you my February TBR video. I have quite a lot of books to talk about in this video, mainly because February is Black History Month and it is also the month of Blackathon, specifically round 3 of that readathon. This is mainly hosted by Jessie from Bowties and Books. I will link their channel probably down in the description below because that's where I'm going to link all of the Blackathon information, such as their Twitter account, which is where you're going to find all the information about the different prompts. There is a lot going on with this round of Blackathon specifically, which I'm so excited about because not only are there a lot of different reading prompts, there are also different teams in terms of different genres. So they're doing a science fiction / fantasy team, they're doing a contemporary literary fiction nonfiction team, and they're also doing a thriller horror team. And so there are different prompts for each of those teams. Now you can either commit to one of them or you can do what I'm doing, which is kind of picking and choosing prompts from all 3 of the teams to best accommodate my TBR essentially. And then they're also doing watch parties for different films. So definitely check out the Blackathon announcement video that Jessie did. That will definitely be linked probably up in the cards above. Definitely check out their Twitter. That's where you're going to find the most up-to-date information about this readathon. I think specifically the readathon is happening from February 13th to the 19th. So I'm going to get to the prompts that I plan on following in a minute, but I also just want to point out that because it is Black History Month, I wanted to devote most of this month's TBR to books that are centered around Black main characters or books that are written by Black authors. Before we get into the main part of my TBR, I did want to throw out a couple of books that are by non-Black authors that I want to get to. The first one is Succubus Shadows by Rochelle Mead. This is book 5 in her Succubus Blues series. I am about to start the 4th book probably in the next couple of days. You guys know at this point this is one of my favorite adult paranormal romance series. There's a lot going on in this series and I have adored every book that I've read so far, so I'm really excited to get to this in February. Then I really want to get to Anna K by Jenny Lee. This is deemed a love story, but it is essentially a contemporary retelling of Anna Karenina. All right, I'm going to read a little bit of the synopsis for you, but it says, meet Anna K. At 17, she is at the top of Manhattan and Greenwich society. Even if she prefers the company of her horses and dogs, she has the perfect, if perfectly boring boyfriend, and she has always made her Korean American father proud, even if he can be a bit controlling. As her friends struggle with the pitfalls of teenage life, Anna always seems to sail gracefully above it all. That is until the night she meets Alexia Count Vronsky. A notorious playboy, Alexia is everything Anna is not. But he has never been in love until he meets Anna, and maybe she hasn't either. And the synopsis goes on from there. But I thought that this would be a great book to read in February because, of course, I do want to read a lot of romances in the month of February, and this one I've heard really great things about, and I love that it centers around a Korean American main character. So yeah, definitely really excited to get to that. So next I'm going to kind of quickly talk about some of the books that I'm planning to read specifically for the week of Blackathon because they do coincide with specific prompts. The first book I really want to get to is Homegoing by Yagyasi. This is going to fit the Maisie prompt, which is one of the prompts for the contemporary team, I believe. And this is Yagyasi's debut that I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about. I understand this does cover multiple generations of Black people from life in Africa to life in the United States. I don't know much more about it than that. I think it also centers around these 2 sisters, at least at the very beginning of the novel, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to this one. Then next, I really want to get to The Lesson by Cadwell Turnbull. This is the group book for team science fiction / fantasy. Okay, so this says, an alien ship rests over Water Island. For 5 years, the people of the US Virgin Islands have lived with the Yana, a race of super advanced aliens on a research mission they will not fully disclose. They are benevolent in many ways, but meet any act of aggression with disproportional wrath. This has led to a strained relationship between the Yana and the local Virgin Islanders, and a peace that cannot last. A year after the death of a young boy at the hands of an Yana, Three families find themselves at the center of the inevitable conflict, witness and victim to events that will touch everyone and teach a terrible lesson. Next prompt I decided to go with is Patsy. This is a prompt that is based off of the novel called Patsy. So for that prompt, I decided to go with The Stars and the Blackness Between Them by Yonada Petrus. I think that's how her name is pronounced. But this one centers around two main characters that are both teenagers. One of them is from Trinidad. She's 16-year-old Audra, I think is how her name is pronounced. She ends up having to go to the US to live with her father because her mother caught her with her secret girlfriend, the pastor's granddaughter. Then we have our other main character, Mabel, who's 16 and lives in Minneapolis, and her father has just told her that a friend and his just arrived from Trinidad daughter are coming for dinner. So they are both queer main characters. This is a sapphic romance. We love to see it, and I've just heard really great things about this one, and also I think the cover is absolutely stunning. Then I'm also really interested in reading The Secret Lives of Baba Seji's Wives. This is also the optional group book for the teen contemporary literary fiction, non-fiction team. All I know about this one is that it is set in modern day Nigeria and it centers around a polygamist family. So this is centering around a man who has 4 wives, I think. And I've just heard really great things about this one, and I'm glad that it's the optional group book because I wouldn't have picked it up otherwise because I had never heard of this book before. Then let's see what else we have. There is one of the prompts for the teen horror slash thriller. It's the Victor Laval prompt. I believe that's how that author's name is pronounced, but I want to read The Murders of Molly Southbourne, which is by Tade Thompson. It was the namesake of one of the other prompts for this readathon, oddly enough. But this one I've talked about before, actually, in a video I did about horror novels in general, and the prompt just sounded so cool to me. So basically we have our main character Molly, and anytime she bleeds, another Molly is created, and so she has to keep killing herself, essentially. She has to keep getting rid of these Mollys, and I've heard really great things about it. I think it's a duology. Okay, so that is it for all of the Blackathon prompts that I am planning on following. So now I'm just going to take you through this stack of physical books that I have right next to me. So in February, I definitely want to read at least 2 Beverly Jenkins novels. The first one is Destiny's Surrender. This is book 2 in her Destiny trilogy. And this series, for those of you guys that don't know, this is a historical romance series, as you can probably tell from the cover, that centers around these 3 brothers. They live in California post-Civil War, I want to say the 1870s, around that time period. So it's kind of around like the Wild West era, I would say. So this book in particular is about Andrew. He needs to start a family, essentially. He's getting to that age where he really needs to start a family, but searching for a bride isn't as simple as he'd hoped, and many of the respectable women of his acquaintance feel lacking. Then beautiful, feisty Wilhelmina Billy Wells arrives at the family ranch with a toddler in her arms, claiming Drew is the father. So this is a surprise baby trope story, but I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about this one. It sounds like this is a book where that trope is truly done right. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Another Beverly Jenkins book that I really want to read in February is Indigo, which is probably her most popular book. I think it's a standalone technically. This one also has an average rating of 4.4 on Goodreads, which is amazing for a romance novel. But this one centers around Hester Wyatt. She escaped slavery when she was a child, and now the dark-skinned beauty is a dedicated member of Michigan's Underground Railroad, offering other runaways a chance at the freedom she has learned to love. When one of her fellow conductors brings her an injured man to hide, Hester doesn't hesitate even after she is told about the price on his head, and the plot goes on from there. I think this is also kind of a hate-to-love story. I think when Hester meets the love interest, they definitely are not very fond of each other at first, but she does have to take care of him, and I think through that they start falling for each other. So I'm so excited about this one. I've just heard nothing but phenomenal things. Next up is Black Enough, Stories of Being Young and Black in America. This was edited by Evie Zaboy, but it features quite a few different authors. Let's see, we have Justina Ireland, Danielle Clayton, Jason Reynolds, Nick Stone, Renee Watson. Some really heavy hitters wrote for this anthology, and I've just heard really great things about it. In the back it just says, Black is urban and rural, wealthy and poor, mixed race, immigrants, and more, because there are countless ways to be Black enough. Edited by National Book Award finalist Evie Zaboy, and featuring some of the most acclaimed best-selling Black authors writing for teens today, this is an essential collection of captivating coming-of-age stories about what it's like to be young and Black in America. So I am just so excited for this one. Next up, I have Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. You guys might recall I talked about Allegedly by Tiffany D. Jackson, I believe in my January mid-month wrap up. I'll have that linked up in the cards above. I absolutely loved that book. Tiffany D. Jackson is an amazing author. She essentially writes YA thrillers. All I really know about this one is that it centers around the very real problem in our society of Black girls who go missing that no one seems to care about besides their family. They definitely don't get the media coverage that they deserve. It says, this is the story of how my best friend disappeared, how nobody noticed she was gone except me, and how nobody cared until they found her 1 year later. Next up, we have Slay by Brittany Morris. I'm so pumped about this one because it centers around gaming, and I just love that idea. So it says, by day, 17-year-old Kira Johnson is an honors student, a math tutor, and one of the only Black kids at Jefferson Academy, but at home she joins hundreds of thousands of Black gamers who duel worldwide as Nubian personas in the secret multiplayer online role-playing card game Slay. And it turns out that she is the creator of that game, and the plot goes on from there. I adore this cover, first of all. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of shiny and beautiful. But I've just heard phenomenal things about this novel, and I just love the idea of having a Black main character who has created a video game, because really any other video game centered book that I've ever read centered around white characters. So I'm just really looking forward to getting to this one. Next up is a book that I mentioned in the 21 books I want to read in 2021, and I'm just so pumped. This is You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. This is a book that came out in 2020. This is about Liz Lightly. She is queer, I believe, and at the beginning of the book, I think she finds out that her funding for college has fell through, whether that be a scholarship or any other kind of means of finances. But she remembers that whoever wins prom king or prom queen gets a scholarship from winning that award. So now she is entering into the race of becoming prom queen. And I think she also falls in love with one of the other girls that's running for prom queen. So I'm so excited. I feel like this book is going to make me really happy. Again, I just adore this cover. It's everything. Next up is Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. This is a memoir by him. It says stories from a South African childhood. If you need a reminder of who Trevor Noah is, he is a comedian. He is the host of The Daily Show. I absolutely love him, love his content. I need to watch his Netflix comedy specials because I think he's just insanely funny. And I'm really interested to read something that is more serious from him. And I did get the audiobook for this from Audible. Fortunately, it's only available through Audible, but I'm just really excited because I love listening to memoirs from the person who wrote it themselves. Next up, we have She Came to Slay, The Life and Times of Harriet Tubman. This is by Erica Armstrong Dunbar, and this is kind of a multimedia story. I mean, it kind of looks like a children's book based on the cover. We have some maps throughout the book. It says Harriet's moves and traveling the underground. There's different like pictures of articles from the time of her life. There's just a lot of different little multimedia things included in this book. I've heard nothing but phenomenal things about it. So again, I'm really excited about this. I keep saying the same things over and over and over again, but I'm just truly so excited to read all of these books in February. And then last but not least, I'm not sure if I'm gonna actually be able to get to this book in February, but that would be amazing if it did happen. And that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is a book that I feel like took BookTube and took the YA genre by storm in 2020. This is a book that was marketed as being compared to City of Bones. It's also sort of a retelling of the King Arthur story. I know that it centers around our main character, Bree. She ends up going to this summer program at UNC Chapel Hill, and she essentially witnesses a magical attack her very first night on campus, and the story goes on from there. I haven't heard anyone give this less than 5 stars that I have heard talk about this book. So definitely high expectations going into this one, but it's kind of a hefty, you know, urban fantasy story. So I don't know if I'm gonna quite get to it in February because I have so many other books on this TBR, but if it does happen, that would be amazing. All right, guys, that's going to be it for my February TBR. I would love it if you would leave a comment below if you want to discuss any of the books I brought up in this video, or if you want to tell me about the books that you plan on reading in February. Also, I would love it if you would leave a like and subscribe, and I thank you in advance if you do. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!